In this edition of Ask Our Experts, we're talking with Mainstay Supportive Housing's family liaison, Paul Lemieux, about what to look for in a supportive home. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Matt. How are you? Nice to be here.
Thank you. Nice to have you. When people are looking for a supportive home for their loved one, what are some of the top things you advise that they look for?
Well, when somebody's looking for housing, there's three options available to them. There's the living in a group home, which is state funded, state operated. They also have a family caregiver who can take on that role, and that's a very heavy role to take on, whether you're a parent or a sibling taking that on. And then there's living independently, either alone or with roommates. So, and that's where Mainstay falls, is in that last category where somebody is age 22 or older, and they're looking to live independently, as independently as possible. And I think that's, the factor that really needs to be taken in by families is just assessing where their young adult is in that whole scale. If they're needing a lot of services, versus they can live independent, in their idea of independence in that scale. I think that's really the biggest factor that a family needs to consider. I've said before is that this whole assessment should be going on far before 22. A lot of experts are saying, up to 10 years in advance. You should be starting to think about what do you want for your loved one. But this whole piece around, the living environment is the level of supports that somebody needs. So I think it's having an honest appraisal as well of what you feel the level of services needs to be, so that if can an individual take their own meds. I've had questions from people who have come to our open houses. Do you give meds? We give med reminders, but we don't necessarily hand the person the medication. And that's a really big, moment in the decision process for a family of where your loved one is going to live. So I think it's, there's even up to communications. Do you need somebody who is going to take your cell phone from your loved one? Because they tend to. We don't do that. We tell them, we cue them, you need to put it away. And then, it's really what level of service do you need, an honest appraisal of that level of service. And then how would you proceed from there? Once everybody can be, kind of on the same level, then that's when you move forward. You can make a really good decision for your loved one. And where they should be.
Because we're talking about a person living mostly independently, correct?
That's correct. I liken this to somebody's going to college. You have someone going to college. They're going to be on their own. They're going to be making decisions about life in general. But again, when they go to college and somebody has to take a med, mom and dad don't go and hand the med. There's not a nurse that hands the med. The person, they might have a reminder. There could be a reminder or whatever electronically these days, right? It could be on your phone, to it, however, whatever there is. I'm sure there's an app for it. And that's what Mainstay provides, is somebody there to remind the person that you need to do this. It's kind of cueing them that it's time, here's the behavior that needs to be followed. And then the person that lives there is following that reminder. So it's a very big, I cannot be, loud enough in saying that to people.
How else does the staff inside the Mainstay Supportive Home assist with the resident's life?
Sure. So Mainstay, the way that the staffing is arranged is that we have 2 live-ins. The people who live in the actually apartment is set in the building itself. Those people are there at night, and they do the kind of like a bed check, and then it would say, all electronics off. It's you need to be in bed sleeping. In the morning, they get up, they make sure people are up, and they're getting ready to go to whatever. If they have a program, they have a job. If they're volunteering, whatever it is, that's the piece at night. And then in the morning, there might be somebody there to guide people through breakfast time, just to, not make breakfast, but to kind of make sure that the person is eating, breakfast. Everybody has their own little space and, a cupboard or in refrigerator, making sure they're eating. And then at night, somebody would, in the afternoon, somebody would be there late in the afternoon to greet the clients as they're coming back from whatever program and help them. That's where we help make dinner, make a group dinner, and kind of provide that kind of support. But again, we're not there to be there during the day to make sure that if somebody's home during the day that we're entertaining. That's not what we do. We are just there to support the clients. It's independent living. I think that's the piece that you make clear. This is independent living with, a minimum of supports, the very basic supports. And I think those are questions that I hear come up at our open houses as well. And then people are honest enough to disqualify. We know that we're not going to be the answer to everyone's, kind of situation. And as long as we're as Mainstay, as long as we're honest, and we are, and tell people that this is what we do, we understand. We don't want the best for Mainstay. We want the best for the individual. And whether they come to us and live with us, or whether they go to someplace else, that's the best scenario for us and for the parents at this point. So I think that's what makes Mainstay different, is that our marketing person, Doreen, has the same opinion. She wants to fill our units, but not at the sake of finding something that just fills a unit. We want the best for for your loved one, your young adult, whoever you are bringing forward as a possible resident in one of our homes.
If I'm a parent searching for a place for my adult child to live, what are some of the things that I should be looking for in terms of, you talked about staffing, but what about the other residents that are in the home and the kinds of activities that go on inside the home?
Sure. So I think we're unique in that Mainstay is unique, where we invite parents and their young adult. I'll call you young adults because usually most people coming out of it's turning 22 is the age in that has been identified for people with disabilities, that they start to have some independence. But we invite them to come for dinner and enjoy dinner with all the clients that are there at that time. To come and tour. We have open houses. We will meet them. We will meet anybody there. It doesn't have to. We have once a month. We have open houses. We have virtual open houses. But Doreen or I will meet people when it's convenient for them. They walk through, and the clients will come right out and introduce themselves. That's really important. You don't get that in a state-funded. You are in a line, and you're hoping that you are placed in the right environment. And for the most part, the state does a good job. But again, it's a whole different process here. You're getting a chance to meet with the people, see, if somebody's having a bad day, because when you move into an apartment complex, not everybody has a great day. And so it's just, how are you going to live in the community? That's what this is all about. So I think that, having that exposure, having that opportunity to meet the people that you might be living with, that's really a significant difference for us. You asked me about, like anything, location. If you're a person that's coming in and they work, a lot of our people work. If they volunteer or they go to a program, it's understanding, where, Norwood is, Walpole, all of the buildings which Mainstay represents are located on a bus line. They are served by the ride. if your your loved one is in a program, a formal program, say at a DDS provider, Department of Developmental Services provider, they will provide a ride. They'll come and pick the person up. But I think, that location is really important. It becomes critical if you have a family member. A lot of times you have a sibling who might be working in Boston. Norwood is a bit of a travel, but it's on the train line. So it's just, the location, we find the location, what are the other people in the building? And a lot of people ask about our staff and what kind of training they receive. And they all receive training. And then what are the hours that are present? And we've talked about that it's the funding that we receive through Medicaid allows us to be there, maybe at each house in the morning, in the afternoon, and then we have a resident who lives there at night. So,
Well, Paul, thank you for your insight.
I'm just happy to contribute. I love being able to help people find their way. This is not an easy road to follow, and so it's information is the key, and I'm happy to share what I know. Through this means, and through just personally reaching out through the website and contacting us. I'm happy to meet with people that way too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.